Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. Gosh, it's dark in here, isn't it? Welcome to Touchline Talk at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday with your boy, LNobbins. It's all kicking off in the Manchester City world. Yeah? Oscar Bobb. Sold? Question mark. We'll be discussing him, discussing the sale. What are our thoughts on that? It's a bit sad, I think, a little bit sad. Gahey has been absolutely confirmed as a City player, so maybe we can talk a little about that, although I feel like we have spoken about him to death, so I don't know how much value there is going to be in talking about that, but hey, if people have questions on it, then that can be a thing. It's only a few days removed from the Manchester derby, so perhaps can cooler heads prevail? If we want to talk a little bit more about that. And of course, we actually have a Champions League game today, and it's at a really weird time. It's at like, we've been selected for that booty 5:45 slot, or whatever it is. So there's going to be a stream very shortly after this. Yeah, 5:45. So we'll be live again at around, let's go live 15 minutes beforehand. We'll be live again at around 5:30. So there'll just be a 2-hour gap without any Nobbins content. Such is life. There we go. Thank you. I don't know what's happened there, because my alerts have been destroyed. Thank you very much, Yanko, for renewing your membership, 87 months. Thank you so much. Love that from you. Thank you for being a fanatic ultra. Yanko. Your random footballer is Peter Crouch, and that is him from his... is that his West Ham kit, or is that his Portsmouth kit? I can't remember if it was at West Ham. But there you go. It's a very young-looking Peter Crouch. This is going to be quite a vibes stream. Evie, please stop. She saw the card come out of the printer, and now she's confused. She's like, how was this face coughed up things? This is going to be quite a vibes stream, because I've just been like, so... And I should be working on the Gahey analysis video. That will come out, obviously. It might not come out this week. It might be next week. I'm not going to lie to you. I've hardly started working on it. I have been distracted with wedding stuff. For the past, I'm going to say, like, 12 hours that I've been awake or whatever, I've been trying to find a photographer/videographer. And I'm getting stressed out because I don't know what I want, basically. So my brain's all over the place right now. Even right now, all I can think of is, do I want that photographer or not? So but this is going to be a bit of a, as I say, a bit of a laid-back, chilled-out stream, hopefully. But I say that, and then we always find things to talk about. So that's the situation. That's the state of play. Hopefully we can still have a good, fun show together. Leave a like on the video. It's free. It helps support the channel. But how are we all doing today? Hello, Benjamin. We've got Nicole who says, am I the only one sad about Bob? No, I'm also sad. Hello, Jace. Hello, Kenji, Abanab, Reflesh, I'm Rufesh. Big up to you, Ryan. Big up to you, Jack. Hello to you, Musty. I see many people on Twitter saying Docker was bad against United. I believe he got a knock by Dell's kick, and the reason he's so good is because of the partnership with O'Reilly. I think there's definitely part of that Astrope. And as we know, excuse me as I do a little burp there, as we know, there was another injury picked up at some point. At some point in that first half, Foden broke his hand. I don't know what moment that would have been. There was a moment where he got dispossessed by Mainu. Could it have been that, perhaps? I'm not sure, but a question. But Pep says he's available, so I don't really know I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you. Hello, Bruno says, slide the wedding invite. Shut up, matey. How are you doing? Is you not really being into Gahey the reason why not pushing to get us out? Maybe. Yeah, I'm not. I think it is a good signing. I'm not excited. I'm not excited by the signing. I think it's a good signing. Same way with Semenyo, and there are a lot of parallels with the Semenyo signing. It's a sensible signing. It's a logical signing. It makes a lot of sense. I'm not that excited about it, though. I do think it will improve the squad. I think it will improve the starting 11 in some areas. But it's not a signing where it gets me out of my seat. And that sounds incredibly arrogant. And I suppose it is. But this isn't like Shirky, where after I looked into him, I was like, oh my God, this is properly exciting and whatnot. Or even Reinders. Your random footballer is Craig Shakespeare, by the way, Abinab. Big up to you. Thank you so much for supporting. Now that the Premier League is almost gone, I guess we will go full gear for the Champions League. It's very unlikely City win the Premier League, but there's only 7 points in it. And 3 of those we are in control of. Who knows what will happen. But you do feel that Arsenal have dropped to the points they're going to drop for like the next 5 to 7 games. And are City going to be flawless in that period, considering we go to Spurs and Anfield? Probably not. Probably not. So it is a thing. There will be a Gahey analysis video. I'm in no rush to get it out. Another reason why I'm in no rush to get it out is because I was in a rush to get out the Donnarumma and Semenyo videos, and they nearly made... Well, the Semenyo video did make me ill in getting it out on time, and the views did not justify it, quite frankly. So there's no point of me killing myself over making it. So he may well have his debut before the video gets released, and it's probably going to be a shorter video, 10 minutes. 8 to 10 minutes, I would suggest, rather than the longer ones I've been doing, because I feel like I've got less to say anyway. Maybe that will change when I properly start to script write. Right now I've got my notes, just need to order them, finalize stuff, but it'll be a good video. I feel like they're all good videos. Anyway, like I always get distracted. Oscar Bobb. Oscar Bobb. Oh, that was a good chant, wasn't it? Ole, 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 ole. That's sad. I'm very sad it's not worked out. Now, who knows what happens in the future? I don't know the terms of... I mean, the deal hasn't even been finalised. He's being linked with a move away to Fulham. I know at one point he was being linked with a move away to Dortmund. It looks like a full-on sale, though, rather than what was being mooted a few weeks ago, which was a loan, and then he comes back in the summer, and then you play it by ear there. It looks like it's going to be a straight-up sale. Hopefully there will be something in it for City, which is good, like whether it's a buyback or whether it's a sell-on clause, just to ensure our position. But even if there is a buyback included, I'd be very, very surprised if Oscar Bobb ever, assuming he goes in January, I'd be very surprised if he ever plays for Manchester City again. I did outline when we signed Semenyo that it means that at least one player is going to go, possibly two, and Oscar Bobb seemed to be the most likely candidate for that, given his struggles, basically from... Because he started the season really well, but after sort of like game number 4 or 5, he struggled quite a lot, which is a shame, of course, and he's not really been able to rediscover the player that he once was before the injury. And I thought that we were going to get there. I thought, okay, start of the season, he was looking good. Is he going to get back up to the player that I saw and I thought he was going to be able to be? It's not really happened for him for one reason or another. He obviously there was a potential moment / game for him to prove that against Brentford, and then he got injured after like 10-15 minutes. So it's just been incredibly unfortunate for him. And he's not a young player anymore. He's not like a young player anymore. He's 22. Is that right? He's 22 years old. This is now getting into like McAtee territory last season, where I was saying how time is not on his side. Like, he needs to be playing first team football quite regularly now, because he's not a child anymore. Like, he's young, sure, but he's not young. He is at the age where you do need to be playing a lot of football. And he hasn't really had that. I don't know how many games he's had. I know he's played a fair bit for Norway. Let's have a little baby look. Oh, I need to show off my keyboard in a second. If you watched LNobbins, you'll know what I'm talking about. He's played 26 league games at the top level. How many games has he played overall? Less than 50 in his career, in his club career, sorry. And 16 for Norway. For a 22-year-old, that's not a lot of football, is it? Obviously. And how many of those were just, coming off the bench and whatnot? Of course, he missed a season due to injury, but he has hardly played at the senior level. So for his own sake, he does need to move. He does need to go to somewhere where he is playing week in, week out, especially if you just had a massive injury and you missed a whole season. Of course, you do need to be eased into it, but you also need a run of games to get your sharpness up, to get your fitness up, and to get your confidence back up as well. And unfortunately for him, City can't really, and this is, I don't know if this is like the correct terminology because it sounds quite rude. City can't hold his hand in that sense. We don't really have the capacity or the facilities to be able to hold his hand, because it's not like this is a City side which is flawless and we have Riyad Mahrez and Sterling and Sane in these wide areas who can be the main players, and then you can gradually ease in Oscar Bobb and we're always winning stuff. We're not especially good right now. I mean, I know we're second, but we're not the level that we want to be. So we can't really help him out in the way that we would want to normally help out a player like that. We already have like a lot of wingers who aren't necessarily that guy yet. We've had players who've shown glimpses and flashes of that in their City career or their wider career. Players like Semenyo, players like Doku, but they are still potentially not the finished article, and we throw Savio into that mix as well. It's not the ideal breeding ground / environment for Oscar Bobb to thrive and to become the player that I think he can become. So it's a massive shame. The Semenyo signing has basically forced the move. There's been weird rumblings behind the scenes with Oscar Bobb as well. I've heard some things, and it's based on Guardiola's comments, was it yesterday or the day before, where he said, Bobb isn't fit, that's what he says. Perhaps I'm reading too much into it. That's a weird way of framing the news that Bobb's still injured. That's a very weird way of framing it. That's basically saying, he says he's injured, so he's injured. That's almost like he doesn't believe that he's injured, or he's upset about it. Yeah, you guys noticed it as well. I don't think I'm reading too much into it based on what I am aware of behind the scenes, and also based on the fact that Bobb is now being linked with a move away on a permanent. So exactly, Valve, exactly. He said he's not fit, so he's not fit. So that was the exact quote. That's not what a manager says when they believe that their player is injured and can't play football, is it? I don't think I'm reading too much into that. Something's happened. I don't know what it is exactly. Is it that he didn't take being out of the side good? And we know that Pep doesn't like that sort of attitude. How many times has he talked about, I don't like seeing sad faces? Perhaps he was like a sad face. There was also that infamous Leverkusen quote, wasn't there? Where he took him off at half-time, and he said after the game, the players didn't try. And we know that he didn't mean they didn't try, like they didn't put in the effort, but we interpreted that as he didn't try, as in the players in the final third didn't try a risky pass or a risky take on. They played cautiously, they played sideways. Pep was basically suggesting that they played like cowards. That's a harsh term to use, but that seemed to be what Pep was alluding to. It's not really been going Bobb's way over the past few weeks and over the past few months, so it's not really a surprise, and the signing added on top of all of that basically showcases that. I wonder which came first. Was there the idea that Pep and City always wanted to bring in someone like Semenyo when they could, or were they willing to give Bobb a go, and those comments have suggested that they aren't happy with him, and has that escalated things? Unsure what the order of that, what the chronological process of that would have been, but the writing's been on the wall for a little bit, and it seems to be that the signings just put the final nail in the coffin, and it's upsetting because I think he could become a great player, but we can't really accommodate him, and it's sad. But if you are going to bring in Semenyo, then you have to sell Bobb, I think. I don't really see how you can't have Doku, Marmoush, Shirky, Savio, Bobb, Semenyo all in the same squad. That's untenable. I would argue that even minus Bobb, it's still untenable in the medium term. I think one more player will go, unless another role change happens, perhaps, and like maybe Shirky just becomes an out-and-out off-ball midfielder in the medium term, in which case it mitigates that concern. So that's Oscar Bobb. We're apparently getting £35 million for him, which doesn't seem like that much, but I guess there's lots of unknowns about his injury. So I guess it makes sense. His talent definitely warrants a fee more than that, but it is hard because of the relative lack of game time given his age, and also the risk he's taking on with the injuries. He missed a whole season due to injury. He's now out again with another injury. So I feel like the fee is low, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Does anyone have any thoughts on Oscar Bobb before I move on to another topic? Let me know. I'm so upset because I think I remember tweeting saying this is going to be the season where Oscar Bobb explodes, and sadly it was his leg that exploded when it broke. But by that I obviously meant that he was going to have a fantastic year, and it was going to be his year, and he was going to be brilliant. And I truly believe that. I truly believe he was going to be our starting right winger that year, and I thought he was going to flourish. I know it was only pre-season. I know it was only the Community Shield, but he looks really, really good. And it's a shame that we'll never know now. We'll never know. It's all a hypothetical, and it's all that's a parallel universe now. We will never know what could have been had he not got injured that season, and I hope he's able to rediscover that form. But so far, seems to have lost that spark. I know it's a not tangible thing to say. But what are your guys' thoughts on Bobb? I'm sad, but I understand the decision, and given the context of everything, it is the correct decision. If you bring in Semenyo, you can't keep Bobb. So if you want Semenyo, it is the right decision to move him on, unfortunately. And yeah, big up to this, because this ultimately, this did help win us the title, of course it did, and that was almost like a turning point in the season. That was the first game Kevin De Bruyne came back, and it was such a crucial goal that Bobb did. So yeah, so big up to Bobb for that moment. He'll always be remembered for that moment, but it's a shame that that's all he's going to be reduced to as a City player, a chant and a moment rather than a career, which could have been beautiful. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We will do a preview later today, absolutely. Bobb not injured, says Blau. Lewis is better as a DM, is that Callum, maybe? Hello Josh, I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm a bit stressed out because I'm trying to get the photography and videography for my wedding, and I don't know what I want, and it's incredibly stressful, but this is calming me down. So, oh, you can hear a noise. So let me show you a new toy I've got. So this was the keyboard that I was rocking with. There's nothing wrong with it. I've had it since 2020. It's perfectly fine. It's a wireless Corsair gaming keyboard. It can light up blue if you want it to. It's fine. It does the job. It's not a problem. It served me well. It's not broken. I'll sell it on eBay. It's fine. However, I wanted a change. I wanted a stylistic upgrade because I want to be changing my PC style this year. This is an Evo 80 mechanical keyboard from Evo Works, and I have appended to it Noctua keycaps. Listen to, and this is heavy. This is that's plastic. This is metal. This is a heavy boy. Listen to the creamy keys here. Bro, that is a joy to type on, man. That is a joy to type on. So big up to that. Yes, and it's not sponsored. No, I do want to get a Noctua PC. I'm waiting for the case to drop, and then I'll take it from there. Not sponsored either. That's just a gorgeous product. Would recommend. I'm not gonna lie, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. I think it was like 100 and I think it was 180. Well, plus the caps, I think it was around 200. But my word, my typing, for someone who like spends all day at a computer, my typing experience has been changed, and it is gorgeous. So yeah, I'm very excited to get all the Noctua stuff. Yes, I am a slut for certain brands, absolutely. But there we go. That's my keyboard. Anyway, that's calming me down. That's calming me down with all the wedding stress. But yeah, what we're saying about Oscar Bobb, guys, before we move on to another topic. Community Shield, Oscar Bobb says Musty. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we all hope that he'd be great. Love Bobb, hate to see him go. His injuries have hurt him. Absolutely. Competitions killed him as well, I think. We'll never forget the Newcastle goal. Absolutely. Buyback clause just in case. Hopefully there's something like that, but we don't know at this stage. You're a bit disappointed, Callum. That's reasonable. Sad, but Savio Semenyo ability to play both sides puts pressure on Omar, Bobb, and Jeremy. The other thing about Bobb is, now I'm pretty confident that his ceiling is as a central player. more as an interior rather than out and out wide player. I don't know if he's got the. I know he plays there for Norway. I know that's really where he's only played for City. I truly think he's more of a central player though. That's never happening here though, is it? So I don't think he'd ever even get to his ceiling here, because he's never playing over Foden in that area, nor is he playing over Shirky in that area. So it is a thing. It is a thing, unfortunately. He makes the all-time 11 chill, Evan, chill. Football doesn't always have happy stories, indeed. Bruno, I'm sorry, that's an L for you. That's an L for you. No, I'm not, Valve, matey. COVID keyboard, yeah. But, well, that's when I got all my stuff. That's when I started doing the internet stuff, yeah. What's Shirky's best position? In my opinion, right wing off ball, midfield on ball. Well, attack midfield on ball. I'm expecting a very aggressive Bodø Glimt. We will get on to that preview, but they have... I know that this will no doubt bite me in the bum, but all Champions League, the entire Champions League phase, people have been telling me that this is going to be a really, really challenging game, and maybe it will be, but, like, they haven't won a game all Champions League season. They haven't won a game. There are only 4 teams below them. There are only 4 teams below them. Is Bodø Glimt, you know? You know. They lost at home to Juve and they lost at home to Monaco. And Monaco were shit. So if we can't beat Bodø Glimt at home when Monaco could beat them, and Monaco are shit, then we're going to have a bad time. We're going to have a bad time. That's the idea. It's a cream base, and I picked it because I wanted the Noctua keycaps, and the Noctua keycaps are additional things that did not come with the thing. And I want a Noctua case, I want a Noctua GPU, I want a Noctua mouse, I want all, because it matches my table, yeah? I want it all to match. I want the fan. The main reason why I want Noctua is because the fans are very quiet, and the fan noise does get into my microphone. It does annoy me. So I would like to try to eliminate that as much as I can. Sounds cool, yeah. I'm glad you guys like it. No, we won't live stream the wedding. I'll be getting a videographer, but that's not going to be revealed. Maybe I can like throw in some clips of like me with my insane dance moves. If you're trying ASMR, it's not working. Hello, what do you mean? You don't like that? How can you not like that sound? That's insane. Yes, we'll be doing a Gehi analysis video, but it's not going to get released anytime soon. No, you're not, Austin, I'm afraid. I named my club after him, it's sad. That's an L for you, yeah. Weatherfall kit, shush. Yes, Dion, I am. Their last professional game was in the Champions League. That was wait, really? That's quite funny. Is that true? Oh yeah, you're right. That's quite funny. Respect the Arctic Circle, definitely not. Yeah, but come on, Musty, we should have done, and they were shit that day. I don't care. I do not care. I don't care. Which videographer? I don't know. I need to hire one, don't I? I need to hire one. You get me? The lizard sound alert during the vowels. No, mate. Stop it. Sick Nobbins, that was not good. You are always right, Yash, indeed. Okay, so that's Bob. It's very sad. It's very sad, and it's a thing, but it was inevitable, and I hope he does well at his next club. But if you look at the attacking talent that we have, you look at the players that we have, it's just not going to happen here, unfortunately. And that's a shame, because I know that the club really highly regarded him, but it just hasn't worked for one reason or another. So that's the thing. What else do we want to talk about? Do we want to go straight into a Bodø Glimt preview, talking about how City might set up? Funnily enough, I've not watched any Bodø Glimt, so I can't preview the opposition, but we can talk about what players we might want to see. Do we want to go straight into that, or do we want to discuss anything else? Like, for example, like we have cooler heads now. Do we want to touch on, like, you know, what went wrong with the derby? Do you want me to go in a bit more detail? I can get my tactics board out. Let me know. I can maybe talk in a bit more detail about where I think we've gone wrong this season over the past few days. Because I guess we can do both. Nothing to do with the derby, says this Shan. Oh gosh. Well, we're gonna get the tactics board out anyway. In fairness, because we want to do that, don't we? We do want to do that regardless. You're scarred for life. Derby, what derby, says Bengal. What's more expensive, Noctua style RAM or Oscar Bobb? I don't think Noctua. To be fair, I don't think they've ever done RAM of Noctua. They've only just started doing collaborations with the mice, keyboards, GPUs, and they've done a PSU as well. So I don't think they've done any RAM. But I don't know what's going. I don't really get the full ins and outs of the RAM situation. As I understand it, it's because of AI. Thankfully, I upgraded my RAM to 64 gigabytes DDR5 or some bullshit, or DDR7, whatever it is. I can't remember what it is exactly. I basically got like way more RAM than I need. I got it before the weird bubble, whatever the term is. So I'm sorted for RAM for many, many a year. So hopefully by the time I need to upgrade, that'll be gone. That's the thing. But again, I got it before it went massively up. I got it. What is it? DDR7, DDR5? I can't remember what it's called. How do I find out what RAM I have, guys? What do I search into my computer? I'll do that, and then we'll get on to the tactics board. What is it that I do? I can't remember. What is it then? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know the terms. What do I search into my thing? Is it Task Manager? Is that right? Task Manager. And then we'll get into the tactics board. Is it performance? Memory. I know it's 64. It's not really telling me. It's not telling me what DDR it is, guys. DXDIG. Is that what I put in my search bar? Hello? That's not helped. DDR5 is the latest. Okay, that's what it is then. Right. Not DDR7 then. I don't know what it is. This one then. It must be this one because I got it relatively recently. It's Corsair Vengeance 64 gigabytes. That is what it is. My CPU is an AMD Ryzen 9 7900X3D. Yeah, it must be. No, it's not Red Dead Redemption 2. Right, let's get into the tactics board, shall we? Oh, let me just load it up, guys. Let me load it up. It's not RGB. I used to have RGB RAM, and now I've moved away from that. I just want like more chilled out stuff. I used to have all RGB, and now I'm like, I think that's tacky actually. So I just want like the plain stuff. Hence, I want to move on to Noctua. Man, fuck the Max. You know what I mean? Fuck the Max. What's a GPU? It is a GeForce. It's an Asus GeForce RTX 480 Super. That's what it is. Yeah, exactly. I used to be all over the RGB, and now I'm like, nah. Exactly, Cowman. You can hold that. And I've got the 64. None of you can have it. Yeah, none of you can have it. You little bastards. Isn't that how it's pronounced? Asus. Yeah, 480 Super. 4080 Super. 4080 Super. That's the one. I was looking into getting a 5080 or a 4090, but I was like, that's way too expensive. It's a 4080 Super. Yeah, 4080 Super. Okay. Yeah, that's the one. Right. Tactics board. Right. What are we doing? What are we saying? What's going on? What's going on? Guys, do you guys remember this moment? Memories. Right. Sorry, did we not want to talk about the derby? It's just like bringing back bad memories, guys. This is bringing back... look at the data! This is bringing back bad memories, yeah. That's going to get copyrighted because of how quickly that was going. It's going to get confused as a... as a video. Right. AI generated game. Yeah, this didn't happen. I do want to touch on this, but I'm going to touch on it within the context of if we have more time. For now, let's just... Don't worry about United. Let's get all these bastard players off our screen, yeah? This isn't real. This didn't happen. Don't worry about it, guys. This didn't happen. This didn't happen. So, this was the... No, it wasn't. This is why we changed to. Guys, you know what I loved? You know what I really loved? Playing this suicidal midfield against United at 0-0. That was my favourite thing to happen. I loved how we got weaker. Okay. Let's get all the players sorted out then, shall we? Let's start from scratch. Let's start from scratch. Here's a good thing, guys. Here's a good thing about our little pathetic lives, yeah? Well, a bad thing, first of all. I know, Toby, it's so embarrassing, isn't it? Here's the situation. Here's the situation. Here's the vibes, yeah? Here's the context. Here's what I'm about to say. Gahey can't play. That's an L. So we can't have Gahey. We can have Elaine, though. That's good. We can have Elaine. That's good. We can't have Gahey, unfortunately. Nor can we have Semenyo, which is a shame. Neither are going to be able to play because we cannot put them in the squad, because we can't register them because they don't count as List B. That's why we can have Elaine. That's why we cannot have Semenyo or Gahey. We can't have Ant or Gay. So, that's a thing. So what players can we have? Let's just pop all of them to the left for a moment. To the left, to the left. Nico's a question mark. I don't know what the state of play is with him. Bernardo suspended. You're absolutely correct. Where is Bernard? There he is. Bernardo's unavailable. Marmouche is available. Nunes isn't available. Nor is Gavardio, Kova, Stones, Bobb, Savio, Diaz, Bernardo, Nunes. Nor is Gahey. We'll put a placeholder here for Gahey. Bob, there he is. He's been added to the team. Well done, mate. Let's have a round of applause. So, List B, I'm confused why we can't have them. Because List B is for only a very specific sort of player. It's basically got to be a homegrown player who you've had in your academy / club for a number of years. So that's why Elaine counts, because he was from our academy. But unfortunately, we can't do that. That is not a thing. Unfortunately. But there we go. It's a thing. What we're saying? Remove Lewis and Ake. So I'm just removing everyone right now. I'm just like trying to pop in the players who are technically available. Does anyone know the Nico situation? Does it, because he was not on the bench against United. Have there been any updates on Nico? Do we know? Let me know, guys. As you guys are telling me, I'm just going to do a cheeky little update on the chat. Ake was holding his hamstring. That would be an L. Yeah, Bernardo suspended. Thank you, Evan. Hello, Leo. Do you know that all the big wins we had this season against the big teams, we did not have the most ball possession. We played better on transition rather than possession-based football. I do not agree. I do not agree. I think you can make an argument about artificial transitions, but actual transitions we'll never be the better side playing like that, in my opinion. Marmouche should start. Why are you gay? Bernard Silva ducking the cold. Brilliant. More Ake ball. Maybe. Wait, who's this? Sorry. Nico didn't travel. Wait, okay. Well, I've got conflicting information here. I've got Nico travelled, and I've got didn't travel with the team. Both of these things can't be true. Which one is it, guys? He is out. He did not travel. Okay, I'm getting someone else saying he didn't travel. I didn't see him in training. He didn't travel. Okay. So we can conclude he's not available. Gonzalez is not in the squad. Thank you. Okay. So let's add Nico to that then. For God's sake. Okay, so how many outfield players can we even pick from here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Right. So of 13 outfield players, we have 13 outfield players to pick from. Of course, this is a shame. Well, this is senior players. We could play some children, but that seems unlikely. It seems unlikely. It is a Champions League game at the end of the day. So there's not going to be a lot of option for rotation here, unfortunately. I guess the first one is the goalkeeper. Thank you, Evan. Reinders, Ake, Marmoush, Haaland, Shirky, Doku, Bettinelli. I haven't put bloody Bettinelli in. Fucking hell. Wait, is Foden not travelling? There's no Foden. Is Foden not playing either? Does that mean we get to pick from 12? Foden travelled. Did I miss it? Well, I'm being lied to. I'm getting fake information, guys. I'm getting fake information from you. This is a falsehood and fake news. I'm gonna ban all of you. I'm just gonna do the stream solo. You sent another chat. Oh, sorry, Evan. My apologies. I won't ban you now. I'll let you off. Yeah? But you got lucky. You got lucky that you corrected me. Because if you didn't, you'd be done. You'd be out of it. Oh, Charlie. Okay, we've got some babies. Great, Mikasa, Noble, Mifune, Samba. Well, they're not going to start, are they? So, that's a thing. Solo Nobbins, yeah. Okay. Right, so of this, I'd be very surprised. I'd be very surprised if any babies played. So, who's going to play as the goalkeeper? Because Trafford's played, one Champions League game this season. And that was against Leverkusen. I would be a little bit surprised if Donnarumma just didn't start, in all honesty. So I'm probably going to pop in Don, just because it is a Champions League game. And he played one and then we didn't win, so I feel like it's going to be as straightforward as that. Lots of people are saying Trafford. I'm just gonna go for Don. I'm just gonna predict Big Don to start. Even though I'd quite like to give James a go, I'm gonna go Big Don as my prediction. I'm gonna go for it. Because at the end of the day, we do still need to win the game, and I feel like we're still probably gonna go very strong. So. Don's too soft, the Arctic Circle. It is boring. I'm sorry. Sorry. But, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go for Don. Now, defenders. Who can we actually call on for defense? We got these boys, haven't we? We got these lads. We got these little lads. Yeah? We got these little lads playing. Of the centre-backs, we have 3 centre-backs. I'd like us to just do this. Because, like, I know that Elaine struggled against United, but I don't care. I felt like they played well in the cup game. I felt like they played well against Brighton as well. I know Elaine struggled. But Bodø Glimt are a different kettle of croissant. So I would like this to just be the central partnership, TBH. The alternative is you don't play Lewis at right back and then you pop Kusanov at right back instead. But I don't think that we need to do that for Bodø Glimt. I think that I know that he was at fault for the second goal. And I know that he had a bad game in midfield. I know that. But I think that Lewis has to play. Because there is no Nunes. So, you get me. Oh my god, we've had a break in development here. Look at all these lads we can call upon. Get Shawnee right in the team. Oh, Richard Dunn, what a boy. Negredo. No, Lewis. You see, people are saying no to Lewis, but it's either him or you move Kusanov out of position. And I don't want to move Kusanov out of position. And remember that these are our only defensive options. You're not going to play Aitnori at right back, surely. I mean, you could. That'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it? You're not going to play Aitnori or O'Reilly at right back, surely. In which case, the only options are Elaine and Kusanov. Well, I guess maybe Elaine. I've never seen him play there. Kusanov and Lewis. And in that case, for the people saying no to Lewis and Ake, I mean, mate, if you don't play Lewis and Ake, this is what you got. You're going to have to play Aitnori at right back and O'Reilly at left back, and that looks a bit stinky. So that's not what I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict that we do I'd like to see Ait-Nouri start. That's what I'm going to predict. I'm going to say Ake doesn't start. That's what I'm going to go for. That's what I'm going to do. Haaland right back, you're insane. You're an insane fraud. This now opens up an interesting avenue, because now you have the option of playing O'Reilly in the centre, which could be a fun thing to do. Or you have the option of just giving him a rest. I don't know. So I'm going to predict that as the back four. I'm going to predict that. It's Bodø Glimt. They've not won a game in the Champions League this season, and as someone rightly pointed out earlier, their last competitive game was in the Champions League. So it's not like they're sharp and up for it either. If we can't beat them with Lewis at right back, then we need to liquidate us as an institution, quite frankly. You get me? So, I don't know. Ake better than Rico? But I don't want Ake at right back. You know what I mean? If we lose, we're shafted. I would suggest so. So I'm gonna rock that. I'm gonna rock that. So it's the same back four as against United, but I'm popping in an actual attacking player instead. If we lose this, you'll never see me again. I'll move to Norway. I'll become a full-time Bodø Glimt supporter. They're already my Norwegian side. I can go whip out the shirt. I'll do it for the match. I don't think I can wear it because, without wishing to flex too much, my arms are too big for the shirt nowadays. So that's a good thing, I guess. But I should have got the size up because it's a very tight shirt, and now my arms just don't really work, and it doesn't really work. So that's the thing. Can't play a back three in possession with this back four. Exactly. Give me my 2-3. Give me my 2-3. It's all a conspiracy for Nobbins to recreate the 2-3. Fuck this 3-1 shite. Pissing me off. Where's my rest defense? Oh, nowhere. It's in the bin. So we'll get into the on ball in a second. That's a good point, though. Good, exactly. This is another reason why I want to play like this. Fuck the 3-1. Fuck it. Yeah? Fuck it. Anyway. What am I doing? Midfield. Midfields now. Who have we got in, like, central midfield? We've got Rodri. We've got O'Reilly. We've got Foden. We've got Reinders. Realistically, these are our options. I like the idea of not playing Rodri because I don't want to play him on this bullshit turf and him potentially injuring himself. What do you guys rate? Do you think Rodri should start this game? Do you think Rodri should start this game, chat? Or do you not want to risk him? He has to play, says Mario. Rodri is cooked. Rodri needs to get seasoned. I was thinking the Wolves game to season him personally. I can see the vision, though. I can see the vision. Trafford pivot confirmed. Nico O'Reilly says Yash. Calvin Phillips. We can rest him for Wolves. No Rodri. He has to play. Need him for Wolves. My instinct is that... It's a good point. I don't know. Get seasoned is mental. No Rodri. Who was it we didn't play a DM against recently? I know, was it a cup game against someone? Where did Nico play in DM? Was that against Newcastle in the League Cup? Where O'Reilly played DM? And there was no Nico that day either. I don't think he played especially well that day, but it did work. Like, we did win the game ultimately. I know that we only really won when Rodri came on DM, in fairness, but I don't know. Because if you play Rodri, what do you do then? Do you just give Foden a rest? And do you play Reinders O'Reilly? Is that what you do? Like that, I think that is a very solid midfield for Bodø Glimt. He did slap up Jolinton, in fairness. That could be a thing. What do you guys reckon? What are you saying? What are you saying? If this was our midfield three. I don't mind it, says Nev. It's very strong. Is it overkill? I don't know. We need to win the game. Protect Rodri, says I am dreading. Think it would get the job done. If it doesn't get the job done, that's a shame. Rodri off, says have him. So I think there are like two potential options, aren't there, really? You can either do this, or I guess you can play a child instead. I'm just assuming that we're just going to deal with the really senior players for a second. You can either do this, which is probably the best you can do. Is that overkill because it's Bodø Glimt? Could you instead do have O'Reilly as your and I can't remember who else played against Newcastle. I'm guessing it would have been Foden, Bernardo. So it's a similar midfield, I guess. It's obviously less strong off ball, but it is, at the end of the day, it is Bodø Glimt. So I can, if we're saying that these are our midfield selections, I feel like I'm missing a player here. Well, I guess technically we can throw in Lewis if we don't think he's going to play at right back, but I'm going to assume he's playing at right back. These are realistically our only options, aren't they? It's either go really strong and play Rodri in DM and risk him on the artificial pitch, whatever, or do you go, well, actually, that's a little bit overkill, play O'Reilly as the defence midfielder, and then you can either play a child, or if you want a senior player, you can pop Foden in there instead. Bernardo is suspended for the game, by the way. He is suspended, so he is unavailable. Calman says play Rodri. I'm going to predict Rodri to start, you know. I don't know if I'm going to predict O'Reilly in the middle, though. Nico G has apparently not travelled. So that's a thing. They're deceptively good. I mean, to be honest, actually, they're 5th from bottom. So, respectfully, I don't think they are good. I think if you are 5th from bottom or whatever it is, after 6 games in the Champions League, and you haven't even won a single game at home, I don't think you are good or deceptively good. I think you're shit, to be honest with you. And I'm willing for City to not win tonight and for me to get proven wrong, but I think that tells me more about City than it does Bodø Glimt. If we can't beat a team that has 0 wins and lost to Monaco at home, I actually don't. I can't even finish that sentence. I just don't. I'm not going to respect them. I'm sorry. I'm not going to respect them. Fuck Bodø. No, not fuck Bodø Glimt. I was going to give them the Exeter treatment then. No, I like Bodø Glimt. They are my Norwegian team. But no, I'm not going to... I am going to underestimate them, TBH, and I don't care if we lose as a consequence. I should be allowed to underestimate them, IMO. If that happens, Mitch, then that's it. That's it. You get me? If Bodø wins, you've got to convert this into a PC channel? Oh, dear. I feel like Pep's not going to do this. I think he's going to start Foden. I wouldn't start Foden. I think he's going to start him. I don't think he should. I've got a feeling he's going to, though. If you ask me what do I think is going to happen, I think that might be quite realistic. Because was this what we did? Was it Dortmund? Where we did this, but it was Nico instead of Rodri. That happened, right? I think so, Taurus, but I still think he's going to start him. I don't think he should have to. But if I'm going for what I think I'm going to predict, I think he might do this. That's my prediction. I'm going to go for that. I'm going to make it clear. I'm not predicting what I want. I'm not saying what I want to happen. Because if it was what I wanted, I probably wouldn't start Rodri. And I probably would start O'Reilly. I'm doing the prediction, though. I'm doing the prediction. I think he'll start Marmoush. I think he will, actually. I don't think he'll start Haaland. He said Pep said something. Must he? Pep did like a sort of backhanded statement to Haaland recently. What was it? It was something like... No, I don't want to get it wrong. What did he say? Let me get it. It was quite scathing. Let me see if I can find it from Pep. Come on, City Extra, don't let me down. Where are we? That's Nico O'Reilly. I want Pep on Haaland. I'm sure he said something. Can't find it now. Bear with me, guys. I will find it. This will be worth it. This will be worth the wait. This will be worth the wait. If I can find it. Here it is. Pep Guardiola on whether Haaland can continue to play so frequently. It depends on his mind and his fire. It will dictate it. As much as he's not injured, he can play. Yeah. Okay, the last bit isn't what I thought it was. That does suggest he is going to play him. But basically, that's quite a scathing statement, essentially. He's basically poo-pooing any idea that he's physically not able to do it. So maybe he is just going to play him. I don't know what I think now. Haaland might play first half. Maybe he'll like start quite strong, try to win the game, and then rotate. I don't know. But he is going to play him, actually, isn't he? Is Marmoush not going to start, then? I mean, he could do. He could do. What are the attacking options, then? We've got these lads, haven't we? Again, we don't have many options here. We don't have many options here. If it's off the right... Well, realistically, Marmoush and Doku have hardly played off the right. So this seems like a game where Shirky has to start. But this is not a good connection, you know. Oh, my God. This is a wank team, man. I don't like this. But we're limited. We're limited on options. Unless he just does a madness and just like throws Marmoush in off the right just for vibes. Semenyo can't play tonight, guys. Semenyo can't play. Yeah, would he play a youngster? Maybe he would. Maybe he would. I'm just gonna fucking go for it. How about that? This is my final prediction, and I'm locking it in. I don't care. I'm locking it in. Marmoush plays because we don't have a left wing. Oh, we got Doku, to be fair. He doubts and goes, I'm not doubting the quality of the individuals. I just don't think this is a very cohesive team that I've made here. I don't like this team I've made, but it's what I'm predicting. I don't like it. There's nothing you can do due to injuries. That is a thing. Mikeda didn't travel. Thank you, Mario. Martin said Doku has a knock. Welp. Right. Well then. Question mark. Guys, but then Marmoush doesn't play. I was going to say, could you play Reinders in the role he played against Chelsea, where he played left wing? But that doesn't really lend itself to anything. Really. Doku. Well, Doku's apparently picked up a knock now. So I'm not including Doku, actually. Because someone just said he's apparently picked up a knock. I don't think that Mukasa's going to play. I don't think we're going to have... Make the team you'd want with the wide variety of options you have to choose from. Well, this is what I mean. These are the, like, there's not much room for rotation with the senior players, unless there's a child starting, which I don't think Pep would do. Of course, stranger things have happened. The only players who I haven't picked said that from the senior pack are these. And allegedly, Doku's got a knock, so I'm gonna even not consider him. Trafford and Don is much of a muchness. Does anyone want Ake to start? I don't know if I do. So that's the option I have. That's my option. O'Reilly can play somewhere. Whether it's Zevite Nori or Foden, I don't know. But we are limited. We are limited on what we can do in this game. I don't like this team at all. I don't think this team really works. The only good thing is it's Bodø Glimt. Is there something else I could do? Realistically, not really. Because what would you do? What would that become? Would that become a 2-3? God, this is a bag of shit, isn't it? I don't like that at all. This is not good. This isn't a good team. It's a little bit better. I don't know what to think. What are you guys saying? What do you reckon? I don't know. Nori left wing. Like that. So O'Reilly drops. Like that. Is that what you're saying? The right side is weak. What else can we do though? What else can we do? If we're saying the right side's weak, okay, fine, but what do we do? Foden instead of Reinders? Sorry, Ake instead of Reinders? Bernardo suspended. Bernardo suspended. Nico ain't travelling. Reinders right back shift. Mikadu isn't there. People are suggesting players who aren't here. It's all well and good saying that right side looks weak, and I don't disagree, but what's the alternative? Unless I'm missing something massively, what is the alternative? Playing a child? Charlie Gray, says Lee. Doku's apparently got a knock, that's what Martin said. That's what someone sorry, this is hearsay that someone said it. It's hearsay that Martin says that Doku picked up a knock. Maybe that's not true, but I don't know. Mikadu apparently didn't travel. Why are people saying Mikadu? Shirky right back. Doku wasn't in open training. They should draw positions from a hat. Yeah, I'll play it. I'll do a job. I'll do a job. Why not? Why can't that be a thing? I don't know if we can confirm the knock. It might be, but even if it isn't, like, what realistically, what does Doku even being available do? It does that. That you can do that. An incredible knock, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. There's not many options, is the point. Could play one of Foden over Reinders or Shirky. I mean, yeah, you could, but does that really help? Just play Foden out on that right wing in case I want to kill myself. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting team. We'll find out, obviously. but I do not know. I don't know. Maybe we'll do something entirely different. Maybe we're overthinking it because it's Bodø Glimt. Maybe it doesn't matter. But I'm going to say that my final predicted team is going to be... you know what? I am going to predict Rodri to start. I am. I don't care. I'm going to predict this. I'm going to predict Pep to go for it. Even though it's not something I necessarily agree with. That's what I'm going to go for. Well, if Doku's available, I'm going to predict that. If he's not, I'll say Marmoush instead of him. That's what I'm going to predict. I don't like this team. I think it's overkill. But that's what I'm going to predict. That's what I'm going to predict Pep to do tonight. We'll see, though. We'll see. Maybe I'm missing a trick. Maybe he will just start a child. But there we go. Rico's a centre-back, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Right. We're still going to be live for like another 25 minutes or so. I don't know how helpful that preview was because we barely have any players who can play. But you know, hopefully it's illustrated how tricky it is to create a team that like works. Once again, thankfully it's only Bodø Glimt. Thank you very much, Thulani. Love that from you. What else would we like to discuss this stream for like the final 20 minutes or so? Do we want to talk about like the formational shift that I'm not a fan of? Because I chatted about it on LNobbins yesterday, but I don't think I was explaining myself very well because I don't think that LB's chat really were understanding what I was saying, which obviously doesn't help with a visual aid. So maybe I could go into a bit more detail about like that. Maybe. Or we could talk about something else. What do you guys want to what do you guys want what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to do? A child will start, says Nico, maybe. I did not watch the AFCON final, nah. No discussing, just play with the keyboard. What RAM you have? Yeah, it's DDR9. Nah, it's 64GB Corsair Vengeance DDR5. I can't remember. It's quite a high speed. I can't remember what speed it is though. I think it's a 50. I think it's 50 something hundred, 5600. I don't know. Kolo Kusanov centre back pairing would be great. Rename Trafford as Traff. Lee doesn't like the change in tactics. Go on then, says Lucky tries. Yeah, okay. I think it begins with a 5, Thunder. I think it does. I think. Let's do that then in like the final few minutes. Because I don't think as I said, I clearly didn't explain it very well yesterday. So we have spoken about it on this channel before, but let me do it again. So I want to preface this by saying that I do not think that this is the only reason why City have been struggling in the past few weeks. I don't think it's as straightforward as there's one solution, right? However, if you wanted me to like do an order of what I think the problems are at the club over the past few weeks, in respect of stuff that can be changed. For example, obviously the number one issue is we don't have the right personnel, whether due to injury or the fact that we just don't physically have them. But there are other issues, like, you know, players just haven't been playing better on a more fundamental level, etc., etc. But it can't be just as straightforward as take this player out, put that player in, because what we can't do is, well, we can if we want to not progress as humans, but what we did do last year as a society, as a fan base, as a unit, as a collective, is we turned it into a scapegoating game of it's just take out X player and put in Y player and everything will be roses. We know that's not the case. So what was working, in my opinion, what was working before the change? I'm going to pop in the players that were playing in what was, in my opinion, our best options. Why am I getting a call from an 0161 number? Who are you? Who are you? Bastard. It said likely nuisance on my headphones, so I'm going to ignore it. So let me pop in the players who were playing at that time. Now, obviously, some players are gone due to injury, but you can still try to replicate them. And we even had these issues when they were in the side. Okay, I'm just going to put Roger in there for now, even though it was technically Nico. But I don't care. I'll do what I want. Okay. Right. The off-ball hasn't really changed that much. If at all. I would argue it hasn't actually changed at all. Aside from personnel. The off-ball is basically the same. So everything I'm going to talk through here, warts and all, is about just the in-possession. Because the out-of-possession hasn't changed. It's still the diamond press, which I don't know if I'm a big fan of. Can it work? Who knows? I don't know. Regardless. Diamond press, 4-3-3/4141. When City got the ball, this little round thing, yeah, when this happens, let's give it to Don. He's a little cutie, isn't he? What would happen, and this was something, without wishing to properly do that to myself, and I do that a lot, that's private content, that. There was a reason why, in the summer, I was quite a massive proponent of playing this particular setup, which I'm going to show you. If you look at City's squad, and this is before the signings, in fairness, it's now changed in light of Semenyo, but still, generally speaking, it holds true. If you look at City's squad, what do you notice about the vast majority of our better players? Players like Foden and Shirky and Reinders. We can even add Doku to this list now. Haaland, Marmoush. They're all very narrow players. They are not naturally wide players. This means that the width has to come from somewhere else. Now, this isn't new. We've seen us do it before. We won the title in 23-24 playing like this, in fairness. It was Gvardiol and Walker in that season, for example. The width came from the fullbacks. So I suggested in the summer, why don't we just do that? We have a lot of narrow players. We don't have a lot of wide players. I don't like that. I don't actually want to play like that. But sometimes you have to play to the strengths and weaknesses of your squad. The weaknesses of the squad is that it's not naturally wide. The strengths of the squad are that we have lots of fantastic narrow players. So you need to get the best out of those narrow players without sacrificing width. The way to do that is to use your fullbacks as your width providers. So I suggested, why don't we play 2-3-5? Why don't we do that? And that's what we did for that beautiful period. And in fairness, we did do it with double inverting fullbacks before we went to double overlapping fullbacks. So we did try it early on as well. So that meant that the shape turned into this. The centre-backs stay where they are. The key element is that the fullbacks both push up. And this is not the same as pure overlapping fullbacks. There's a difference between a fullback who overlaps and a fullback who turns into a winger. It's a very different role. Because it means that, because if a fullback is overlapping, it just means, well, their starting position is here, but then occasionally they will bomb up and they will provide support. Nah. Different scope entirely. No, you are a winger. That is your starting position. You're not overlapping. You are the lap. Yeah? Of course, they're still moving, but you know what I mean. So if that player is now not overlapping, they are just being the wide player, then it means... Then it means that the players who are your natural wingers, i.e. in this case, Doku and Shirky, are not strictly shackled to the touchline. This now means that they can play as your two number 10s, and that is exactly what this is. You've got a left 10, you've got a right 10. Side note, I don't like it when people say the 10, because there's no such thing as the 10. I've highlighted 2 here in this setup. City play with 2 number 10s in a 2-3-5. They have a left 10 and a right 10. Okay? So Shirky's your right 10. He's a playmaker who starts from the right side and then goes inside. I do have a cat named Evie. Big up to her. Doku, likewise. He starts from the left, but really he's a left-sided number 10, essentially. What this also does is Bernardo Silva, who is better in the deeper areas. He gets to help out with build-up situations. He also provides lots of off-ball and rest defence work for Shirky. The other good positive of that is that Foden gets to play in his better, deeper position. Well, certainly better based on this season anyway. This was something that I advocated for in the summer, and it worked. This is how we played our best football with this setup, and I suppose with this lineup. Okay. Why is this a good thing? Why did this work? You're committing. Okay. What's been the number one issue for City this season when we have been in possession? Hopefully we all know by now. The number one issue for City has been that we are not solid and good in respect of our phase 1 play and in respect of build-up. Yes, exactly, Dash. Exactly, thank you. Now, that's for a number of reasons, okay? That's for a number of reasons. Regardless, a positive of this setup is look at how many bodies you have. There will be a watch-along tonight, yes. 5:30 will start. Look at how many bodies you have. Look at my little beautiful pyramid. I've got a reverse pyramid going on here. I've got a cheeky little W shape. This is the classic WM, yeah? Throwback to the 1910 season. Look how many bodies I have deep there to assist with build-up. So it means that when the opponent commits a lot of bodies forwards, then guess what? Space opens up behind them. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can either play over the press, or, which is City have done, or you can play through them because you have superior bodies. So it's good for both avenues. If they commit loads of bodies forwards, then you can play over them. Now they've left like a -1 on the back line. So now they've left like, a 5v5 at the back. And Haaland 1v1 against the defender ain't a good thing. Alternatively, they only commit, let's say, 4 bodies forwards. Well, I've got 5 bodies in my build-up. So you're going to have a bad time if you only commit 4 bodies forwards. So, we're able to play through it, therefore. And what happens then? If they commit loads of bodies forwards and you play through it, you play over it, you have an artificial transition, a safe counter-attack. Or you just get to a really solid area and now you get past phase 1 and now you can just camp in their in their defensive third, which is where City want to play the most of their football. That's why it's good, and that's why it was working, and that's why I liked it. And this was the confusion that was happening yesterday. Because lots of people were saying, I don't know where it's come from. It's very weird. Because lots of people were saying that Foden playing deeper is a bad thing because he's not very good deep. But the opposite is the case. Because if you think of Foden's best games this season, they came in these deeper areas. Or rather, starting deeper area anyway. Likewise with Doku. Doku's best games came when he was playing like this. And I would argue Shirky's best game, well, maybe not. But certainly one of his best games, my favourite anyway, was against Bournemouth. And that was when he was playing like this. It's simple for the fullbacks. They know their job is pretty straightforward. You got a nice build-up structure. Doku gets that central access. Shirky gets that central access. And it's the better utilisation of Bernardo. And based on this season anyway, it's the better utilisation of Foden as well. Because you get him for the deeper areas and he's still able to contribute in the attack. So that's the thing. This is why I like this setup a lot. Now, are there weaknesses? Yes, obviously. No structure is safe. we know the weakness of this one is this area here. If you lose the ball in a dangerous area, there's loads of space in behind the fullbacks. Of course, that's a thing. Nevertheless, we were on a really good winning run, playing like that. We were doing a really good job playing like that. Now we've moved away from this way of playing. And I'm going to repeat. I do not think that the only issues at City are this shift from a 2-3 to a 3-1. That's not what I'm saying, because it's not that reductive. But I do think this is one of the biggest issues at City that can be rectified like overnight. It can be changed overnight. And I don't get why we've moved away from it. So a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, can't recall the exact game. I think it was Sunderland at home, because we did play a 3-1 at times, but generally speaking, it was at that point, it was a 2-3. The first game that I can notice it being, or rather the first game where it was we played this system as shape, and now we're only playing that shape, I think was Sunderland at home, because that I remember predicting us to play a 2-3, but then I saw Núñez at right centre-back. I was like, oh, we're playing the back three. Okay, is that in preparation for Real Madrid? Do we want 3 defenders in our rest defence? Okay, maybe that's a thing. And then we saw it against Real Madrid, I think, and then I think we've seen it pretty much every single game thereafter. And hey, we had some good results in that time as well. We beat Sunderland, we beat West Ham, we beat Real Madrid. Question marks over that one, but we still did it. We've also had all the stinky results though as well. We haven't won a game in the league in 4. What are the key differences? So let's take the same personnel just for a second. What are the key differences? Well, we can't use the same personnel. Well, no, we can actually. Yes, we can. So this is what happens now. Okay. So Núñez now has a far more conservative role. He still will occasionally advance and push up. It's like a hybrid role on this. He's far more offensive than Gvardiol, for example. Sometimes he will go up to support, but he's far more of an overlapping / supportive defender now rather than an out-and-out attacker. So that's the first thing to say. So you're taking away a lot of Núñez's threat, realistically, here. You're not playing him out wide. The other thing, if Núñez isn't advancing as much, then, and if Shirky is playing, outside of the West Ham game, which is the only game where he played out-and-out right wing, the only way that you can manufacture Shirky into the centre now is to do this. Which isn't necessarily a problem. However, I have noticed, and I think this is where a lot of the confusion has come from as well. I have noticed that Shirky is playing way more off the right side in the 3-1 as opposed to the 2-3. Now, he's still technically playing centrally, and he's still able to access those areas, and he's still, outside like the recent games, he's still able to impact the game and play well. But it's not as natural, seemingly. The rotation between Bernardo and Shirky seems to be a lot less natural than Núñez simply overlapping him, not even overlapping him, just becoming the out-and-out wide player. That's the first thing to say. So Shirky can still get central access, but it's not as natural. The other thing is that Bernardo out at right wing is nowhere near as effective as Núñez out at right wing. Because Núñez is an offensive threat with his crosses and his pace and his power. Respectfully, in 2026, Bernardo is not that guy. So you are essentially condemning your right side to die a death. Unless you have Shirky out there. You don't want Shirky out there. This isn't a fault of Bernardo, but you have to have Bernardo do this function if you want to play Shirky and give him central access. This is what we have been doing. It means that Bernardo is not optimized. Thank you very much, Cody, for the super chats. Love that from you, Cody. Can we talk about off-ball counter prevention? That's the biggest issue. We can definitely talk about it in the future, but right now I'm just talking about because the shift in off-ball hasn't really changed, so I don't really have a gripe with that. And the rest defense has changed, actually. Well, that's not off-ball. Well, it's technically off-ball. When you lose the ball, it is. So I will talk about it, but I won't talk about off-ball shape. I could talk about rest defense shape, though. So that's a weakness already. Yeah? That's a weakness. Bernardo isn't optimized. Núñez isn't optimized. And in my opinion, Shirky isn't optimized either. Thank you so much, Cody. Here's a fortune for you. Begin your life anew with strength, grace, and wonder. Oh, begin your life anew. There we go. So that right side, in my opinion, is not optimized. That's not the same as saying it's bad, because we can win games doing that. We have won games, we have played good football, but I just don't think it's optimal. Where else isn't it optimized? Well, it isn't optimized for Jeremy Doku either. There is still scope for O'Reilly and Doku to rotate with one another, but I've noticed that it's nowhere near as frequent or natural. Doku becomes far more of a typical left winger when we play with the 3-1. I don't know how I prove that with data, but that is what my brain and eyes are telling me. The Doku is a far more traditional left-sided outlet like this, and he doesn't have as much natural access to the centre. That's the thing as well. The other problem, I'll get into rest defence in a second, and this is what we saw against... the other problem, rather, is that Foden is too high. Foden is too close to Haaland, and the space around him is congested. Because now we technically have 3 number 10s in around him rather than just 2. There's way too many bodies in and around him, so it means that we basically become far too easy to mark and pick up. We need to be spread out a little bit. It's okay to have some players close to one another and to congest the centre to create space elsewhere, but right now that's not what's happening. The other thing is this, and this is the problem that we saw against United. Now, what did we see earlier? We saw a 2-3. We had 5 players. You are now going down to 4, so a -1, obviously, because 5 is a bigger number than 4. That means a few things. First of all, it makes it a lot easier for the opponent to press us, because now they don't have to commit as many bodies forwards. This means that they have more bodies at the back. So if we play it long, there's no -1 over there now. And how many times did we try that against United, and it just immediately went to a United player? Because they had loads of bodies at the back. Because they didn't need to commit that many bodies forwards. Because we didn't commit that many bodies to the build-up. Conversely, they built up with 7 players, including the goalkeeper. And look at how many bodies we committed. Through ball into Fernandes, who dropped deep. Bam, they're in. That's a problem. That's a concern. So that's a consequence of having less players in the build-up. Another consequence is it places a way more emphasis on each individual player. Because if you have less bodies in the build-up, that means that each individual's responsibility exponentially increases. So now there is way more individual responsibility and burden on these 4 players. Now, if you have Gvardiol and if you have Rodri, then that's acceptable to a degree, because Rodri is Rodri and Gvardiol is Gvardiol. But when you have Elaine in there and Kusanov in there instead, who are an inexperienced partnership, and you had Rodri who had a bad game as well, those frailties exponentially increase. So you had better hope that if you're having barely any bodies in the build-up and you're trying to play out from the back, as we are trying to do, you need to hope that every single player knows their job to a T and can execute their role flawlessly. Rodri can do it, Gvardiol can do it. Outside of those players, we don't really have the players to do that. Diaz isn't a natural ball-playing centre-back. Neither is Núñez, realistically. He's got better, but he's not as tight or tidy as, say, Rico Lewis therein. That's what made it so horror against United. It's a compounding effect of shit, basically. The solution is to just drop a body. That helps immediately. It doesn't solve the problem entirely, but it helps. if you drop Foden, if you drop Bernardo, if you drop Lewis, whoever it may be, you have more bodies, you avoid a lot of these problems. You get Foden back into the area where he was playing his best football. Is it a... Now, correlation does not equal causation. I get that. Is it a coincidence, though? That because a month ago, or a month and a half ago, whatever you want to say, and I still believe that across the whole course of the season this is the case, but regardless, our 3 best performing players by a ridiculous margin were Haaland, they were Foden, they were Doku. And they were putting in fantastic performances week in, week out. Whether they were getting goals or not, they were all playing fantastically well. Is it a coincidence that since we have moved away from this, from the 2-3, sorry, that those 3 players, our 3 best performing players in that period, have significantly declined in respect of their performances? Not every single performance has been bad, but compared to the levels that they were performing at, it is night and day. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. I don't think it can be a coincidence. Correlation does not equal causation. Doku got injured, he did, but even when he came back, Musty, he's not been putting in the performances that we have seen, and I think it's a lot to do with this change. I don't like it. The other thing to say is rest defense. That just means how are you set up defensively when you have the ball. That's all that means. Okay, there was lots of space before with the 2-3-5, fine, but we at least had 5 bodies in the defensive shape, in theory, theoretically. So if you lose the ball, you got 5 players to defend, in theory. Well, right now we have 4, and it's Rodri all on his own as well. Whereas before, it was Nico, in fairness, he would have had 2 players technically either side and helping him out. Whereas now, if we turn over the ball with our 6 players committed, Rodri can't do dick all. He's only just coming back from injury himself. And he gets overrun really easily. So, many issues. Many issues with this shift. And I'll repeat one more time. This is not the only problem with City. But for me, it is one that can be amended. It is... I don't get why we've done this, because in my opinion, this does not suit the majority of the players that we have, whereas the other one does. The other one does. So I'd love us to just go back to that. And hey, if we keep playing like dog shit, and we try that setup, 3 games in a row, and we still play like dog shit, then I'll hold my hands up and I'll say, right, well, that was irrelevant then, and I was wrong. But I just can't believe that. I cannot believe that. It just seems too obvious and easy. The problems seem too obvious. And it seems so easy to remedy and fix. So I don't know. But we know that Pep's obsessed with this 3-1. He tried it last season, and it didn't really work then. It was a novelty at the start, and I think that caught a lot of teams out. But I think it was a very specific structure, because the reason why we did that on the first day of the season against Chelsea was because we knew that Chelsea were going to press in a very certain way. We knew they were going to press in a 4-2-4, and the 3-1-6 helped with that because we had Kevin De Bruyne out wide, and that split their midfield. And it worked for that in that particular setup, because the meta at that point was a 4-2-4. Everyone loves playing a 4-2-4. Ten Hag was doing it as well. There are loads of teams doing it that season. And then there are still lots of teams doing it this season. That seemed to be a particular structure for a particular setup. And I don't hate the idea of doing this when you know you're playing a shit back 5 team at home or whatever, who aren't really going to be a threat, because you want to overload them. You want to have a numerical edge. I get that. But generally speaking, why? I don't like it. I don't like it. And that's my rant, guys. That's my rant. In sum, ditch the 3-1, put my 2-3 back in the bag, and maybe we'll see better performances from Doku. Maybe we'll see better performances from Foden. Maybe we'll see better performances from Shirky, from Bernardo, from Rodri, from Haaland. Don't know if I said his name. From O'Reilly, from Nunes. That's my brain. Any final thoughts, guys? Hopefully that was informative. Hopefully that was valuable. Any final thoughts? Because we have been live for 90 minutes. And I normally try to make these touchline talks around 90 minutes. Let me know. You may say this would work with Stones, Cavadio, Rodri, Ederson. Yeah. If you have a ball-playing goalkeeper, and you have Rodri, the best defensive midfielder, and you have Cavadio, the best ball-playing defender, and you have Stones, who's arguably even is up there as being a ball-playing defender, then yeah, it works. I don't think you need to have the best of the best, but you certainly need, I would argue that you certainly need a ball-playing goalkeeper to try to play like that. Because then you don't only have 4 players in the build-up, you have 5, and that's a different conversation, isn't it? Because then you've got 4 players, and that's a different thing. And then the opposition still has to commit loads of bodies forward. So then they're in a question mark situation. So yeah, that's the thing. We have to go back to a 3-2. See, I prefer a 3-2. My issue with that though is I don't think this squad is designed for that. I don't think this squad is purpose built for it. Because that really requires, it does require one of your fullbacks to go to centre-back. And I guess that could work with Nunes doing that. It's just not optimal for Shirky, as I outlined therein. Yeah, I don't know. But again, it's not his fault. It's an instruction. He was being instructed, as was Foden, as was who played left 10 against United. Bernardo. They're all being instructed to do that. They weren't really dropping deep as they should have been doing. Does this system rank lower than the treble system we used this season against Villarreal? Hey, it worked against Villarreal. Respect them. Yeah? It just didn't work against whoever the hell it was after. Was it Villa? I can't remember. Thank you for the super chat, Godry. Can Pep go back to settings when we were cooking instead of W runs? Dawkins menu super wide, which kill their impact. We've just gone over that, Godry. Yeah, that involves dropping Foden deeper. That involves pushing the fullbacks wide. I'm not angry. I'm just confused. That's all. I'm just confused. That's all. That's the other thing to say as well. From a rest defense POV, it works if you have like Declan Rice as your defensive midfielder, or if you have like maybe Amadou Onana as your defensive midfielder, or if you have Prime Fernandinho as your defensive midfielder. That's fine. Well, it's not. It's still hard, but they could do it more readily. But that's not what we have right now. I just don't think it suits Rodri. I don't think it suits the vast majority of our players. And I want to say, I've been a hater in before this wins us the quad. I've been a hater of the 3-1 since day one. You can go back and watch my Chelsea analysis video, and I talked about the positives, but I also said, but it makes you way more exposed because of X, Y, Z. I've been a hater of this setup since day one. I want that to be known. Let the record show. The Nobbins was an OG hater. Yeah? An OG disliker. Love that from you, Josh. Good luck with your calculus. If we had an Ederson type instead of Don, would you still be advocating for an Anderson type midfielder? I wouldn't be advocating for it as much, to be honest, Pedro, no. I still think it would work, but I don't think it would be as necessary. It wouldn't be as necessary in my view, because I think then you could play a different way. Good question, though. Very good question. Exactly, Jace. Exactly, Puncture Bicycle. Yeah, that's why I'm confused. It's why I'm confused. This is my own software, Emperor Inca. Probably playing 3-1, and when we win, Pep Weese against Newcastle because I think it works. This is dark. I'll repeat, just as a final thing. You can win football games with the 3-1. It can obviously work against certain teams. I'm not saying it's a shit formational system that can never work, because every single shape or system has its flaws. I just don't think we have the right personnel right now to play like that. It really. Don't really get it. Don't really get it. This is what confused me yesterday, because I don't, and again, I think it's my fault. I don't think LB understood what I was saying, because he was saying we need to go back to what was working, and I was like, yes, we do. But what was working was the position of Foden playing deeper. So you get me. You get me. They go hand in hand. When it was working, Foden was deeper. When it wasn't, when it's not working as much, we've seen Foden higher. I'm being lured into a pro-Trafford propaganda. Brilliant. Final questions, guys, because I want to wrap it up here. We've been live for nearly 1 hour 40. Nobbins says pyramid scheme. Speaking of pyramid schemes, guys, if you want to help support the channel, you can do so for as little as £3 a month. The link has been provided by the Nob bot if you would like to support the channel. Big up to you. Phone was scoring a lot, so maybe thought he played higher. Maybe that's where the confusion is, because he started deeper, but then obviously in and around the box, you have your number 8's attack. So, like absolutely, I'm not saying that Foden was always playing as a number 6, but there's a big difference between a player's starting position and a player's arriving position. This is another reason why I've always been saying that I don't like the idea of Doku playing out and out right wing, because people, even though people went, oh, but like he moved over to the right wing there and he played quite well. There's a big difference between starting in a position and arriving in a position. And it's the same thing with like this Foden situation of like, okay, like he arrives into the advanced areas, but the starting one is deeper, and that's where City were playing our best football. That's where he was playing his best football also. So we all do agree, it's just a misunderstanding. With Gahey's arrival... with Gahey's arrival, do you think Yoshko will be more at left-back? I don't think so, to be honest. I think that Ainori and O'Reilly will continue to be our main left-backs, and I think that Gahey will fight for he'll fight to compete with like Diaz, and I guess Gvardiol every now and then, but I don't think Gahey's going to be an out-and-out starter for us in the main. I think the main duo will be Yoshko and Diaz. Gahey video, it'll be out when it's out. Haven't really started work on it. Probably next week now, in all honesty. I've been planning my wedding. We booked a photo booth, which is good. I've been stressing out. I've spent, I don't know however many hours trying to find photographer and videographer that I like. I don't know what style I want. I mean, that shouldn't be a stressful experience, I feel like. I'm not enjoying the experience of trying to find one, though. So that's what I've been doing. So Gahey video, that'll be out when it's out. I'm in no rush to make that. TBH. Ask Mrs. Nobbins' thoughts. Yeah, I have, Musty, of course. But she's busy. Mateus, please get healed. Yes, we need him back from flu ASAP. Notice me. No. Thank you, Anas. It's if the fraud himself can get married, it means I have a chance. Yeah, of course. Well, we haven't got married yet, but we're engaged. Nah, that will actually be out like soon, because Gahey is actually going to be playing. Don't worry about that. Wedding tactical preview is crazy work. Oh god. Right, we'll be back live at, I'm going to say 5:30. We're back live at 5:30. The kit behind me is signed. Yes, it's surely right. So we will be back for that. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, Musty. People spreading bizarre rumours. Nintendo. I didn't do any of that blessing stuff. I didn't ask Mrs. Nobbins' dad, like, can I marry a daughter? I think that's, personally, I think that's a bit weird. I get it if it's a tradition and you like it, but I think that's a bit odd to ask permission. Or ask blessing. It's a blessing, isn't it? I get it, it's a thing, whatever, but it strikes me as a bit odd. Because what do you do if they say no? We are going to get married. I get it's a formality, but I think it's weird. To me, it comes across as a bit of like archaic ownership. I don't know. I'm sure I'm reading too much into it, but I felt that's a weird concept. I was like, well, I'm not going to ask. I'll just tell you, yeah, we are getting married. A big up to Mrs. Nobbins' dad. He's a very lovely person, by the way. Also, big up to my gorgeous channel members. I'll repeat once again, guys. There are two brilliant ways you can support me. whilst also getting exclusive content along the way. You can become a member of the channel, just like Sarthak is, with his beautiful... look at those, my beautiful members, with their name, with their little rat badges. And wait, what is that green thing? What's that? I've just noticed. What the hell is that green thing? Has my chat broken? Hello? I had to look into that. That's annoying. The other way is you can sign up to the Patreon if you prefer offline viewing. Then same perks over there. Yeah, why is it a green block? It should be the little rat, yeah. It's annoying. I'm going to have to get in touch with my programmer chap saying, Oi! What's going on? If it keeps going, I'll leave it for a couple days and I'll get in touch with him and be like, mate, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Thank you very much. Big up for watching. Thank you for joining. I hope you're able to get some value from today's stream. We will be live later today. I know, Jack, yeah. We'll be live later today at 5:30 for Bodø Glimt. We need to get the win. I'm sure we will get the win. My prediction is going to be 3-0. Let's go big, yeah? Let's get back to winning ways. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I just punched my monitor there, and I'll catch you all later today in a couple hours, actually. Goodbye.